Welcome everyone to the 7th episode of What's Up Bro Season 2. I'm Miggy.
And my name is Cora.
And we are accompanied by some very, very special guests today. So, brothers, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Oh, hi, I'm Brother Aryan Lopez, FSC, a graduate of Zobel, Ateneo. And then I went back to the green side, and I recently returned from Australia where I helped in Vocations. And I'm now helping out the social action unit of De La Salle Philippines and De La Salle Brothers.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Brother Aikee and Br. I'm a graduate of De La Salle University, and I was also part of the student council. And I was assigned in Lipa, Batangas, in Bagak, Bataan, and I just came also from my assignment in Kagoshima, Japan.
All right. Thank you so much, brothers. And once again, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. So for those of you who are new to What's Up Bro, basically we're going to be answering a bunch of questions that you sent in over to us from last season that you want to ask the Lasallian brothers themselves. So let's dive right in with the first question. So what have been your greatest struggles in your vocation and how did you overcome them?
I think for me, it's when you feel that what you're doing isn't making any sense or if it matters. There have been several periods in my life where it's either because of what some people say, or maybe it's a general feeling, maybe because I'm older now, I'm 46, and that thing that people call a midlife crisis, it might just be like that. Or maybe sometimes when, especially Brother Aikee and I were assigned in other countries, being a Lasallian in another country is certainly very different and many times difficult. So I think it's those moments when you can't help but think of what you left behind that makes you question why I'm here. Kasi parang what used to work isn't working anymore, or you have to figure something out and you have to start from scratch. And as you get older, it's a bit harder. So it's not been a life that's puro high and down, but it's like a roller coaster. So you have your ups and your downs, and then you just have to find a way to, get through it. And if you ask me, the follow-up to that question would be, I think the presence of God through my students and my interaction with my students, former, current, I think that they've always reminded me of what it's like to be a brother and why I should stay.
I think for me, my biggest insecurity would be that I didn't graduate from an education degree. And I'm not a teacher to begin with. So when I entered the brothers, I wasn't really parang prepared to teach. But since brothers are teachers, you'd have to undergo the training of becoming a teacher, etc. But I found at least my in a sense, my specific flavor or approach, if you may say it. So I think I found at least how my interests and my skills could be fused and married with that of the nature of the brothers being in education.
All right. Thank you so much, brothers. I think we got a lot of great insights from there because regardless of what field or vocation you try to enter, I think it's a very relatable experience for everyone to sort of question where they're at in their lives with what they're doing. So I think that's something everyone, regardless of vocation or field, can actually learn from the brothers. Mm-hmm. Cora, I think you'd like to ask the next question.
Yes. So speaking of vocation in general, growing up, usually our family, based on experience, becomes the picture of what love looks like, especially between our parents. So our listeners are wondering, is the absence of a romantic relationship a challenge in the life of a De La Salle brother? And if so, how do you cope with it?
My mom says, if you're talking about parents, my mom has always said that I live an unnatural life. Kasi we are built to have intimate relationships in our lives. And for us, as we grow up, the world has taught us that a romantic, exclusive relationship is the best way to go about it. I think what happened sa amin sa Brothers is we realized that that need of an intimate relationship does not go away and should not be ignored. Because if you do, that's where problems start to happen. Ang challenge lang sa amin is kailangan namin hanapin yung relationship na yon in ways that are very different. So it's either deep friendships with different people. We're lucky if we have brothers who we get along with. More or less, brother Aikee and I sort of get along naman kahit papaano. So and I'm pretty sure brother Aikee can rattle off certain names. I think some of them have been guests on your show already. I'll say Brother Richie because he's my batchmate. So meron kami, so Brother Aikee, Brother Richie, some of the younger brothers whom I've lived with. I'm lucky because I have brothers in that sense na hindi naman automatic na just because we're brothers, we all get along and we're all close. They're very different personalities. And aside from the brothers, you have to have friends outside, people that you can talk to. So the absence of a romantic relationship is difficult, but it's not impossible. It allows us to be more creative in searching for our friends and people who we can rely on.
I think for my experience, naunahan nga ako ng friends. So I'd resound with what Brother Arian said. Parang when I was growing up, while in school, parang mas nasayahan ako with many friends. So that's wala akong time for intimate relationships. So or partly also parang hindi naman din ako na-coach about it. Parang kasi nga I was really into a lot of extracurricular activities. So hindi ko alam how to go about it. While siguro mayroong mga opportunities and I've had some experiences where I tried to have some to try to have an intimate or romantic relationship. Pero now you see that maybe as humans, we are built for love, and love comes in different forms. And one specific form of love is through friendships. And sometimes, parang minsan nga, mas deep pa yung relationship mo with your friend in a very spiritual and emotional way. Siguro wala yung physical, how do you say that? Bonding. With one. Pero you really appreciate and you realize this is something very precious and wonderful and beautiful, di ba? So, while siguro, naisip ko rin siya once in a while, pero it usually fleets eh. So, I come to a conclusion na siguro humans are really made for love, but they're made to receive love in different ways. There are some people, I just feel like it should be also a point for teaching for young people.
Yeah.
Maraming young people na frame na you can only be happy if you have romantic relationships, and that could also lead to disaster. Kasi some people are not built for that. Tas mapipilit through peer pressure, and then then they'll get married, etc. But everything was pressure by society, by friends. They were not built for that. So, dapat we also discern ano yung love that we can receive and be really fruitful for.
Yes, I love that because right now there's a big smile on my face because I think this is really something that a lot of people like to talk about, love as a concept. And I really appreciate that notion that we don't have to shy away from our longing for this kind of intimacy with others, but it's also very refreshing to know that we can find that outside of the romantic context. No? So thank you so much, brothers, for that. And I believe Miggy also has our next question about your experiences further.
All right, thank you, Cora. So the next question, can you name an experience when you felt that you almost wanted to leave due to confusion or any difficulty in your vocation?
Today, kasi may interview, so nakakatakot. Baka may nasabi akong masama. No, I think there are times, as I said in the beginning, like there was I've been with the brothers for 22 years. There was a time maybe around the end of the 10s and the beginnings of the 11s and 12s na medyo nayanig yung world ko because nga, life isn't perfect and life is difficult and it's full of discomfort. And I think I reached the point na parang I started to question nga, bakit ba ako nandito? But again, I think what saved me ultimately was that experience of being with the students na you realize that you need them as much as they need you, that the reason for you to get up in the morning, even though many things don't seem to make sense or wala kang gana, yung iisipin mo, ay hahanapin ako ng mga kalaro ko sa playground because one of my favorite things as a brother is being the monster in the playground. And then people ask, brother, hinahanap ka ng mga bata nung isang araw, bakit hindi ka daw dumaan? And to me, I think it speaks of a certain purity of intention that while these challenges come to you, while na masakit siya or ayaw mo siyang pagdaanan, in a sense, the nice thing about going through them is it purifies your intentions. Malalaman mo talaga kung bakit ka nandyan. And for me, both vocation and God's presence in my life, I owe it to the many students who accompanied me in that difficult period. Shout out to all the people in Bacolod. I believe some of them are now parang student council na dyan sa DLSU. Yung mga inaalagaan ko ng mga grade 3, grade 4, nandiyan na sila ngayon sa USG. Secret na lang, pero nandiyan sa somewhere. Matanda na siya, college student na yung grade 3.
For me, it was my experience in Japan. We have fantasies and parang image of Japan being such a very nice country. And very nice to, okay naman, it's really a good place to visit, but culturally and historically, Japan is very different. In fact, I could even dare say that it's an irreligious country. So as a religious, coming to a country without religion or having the same notion of religion is very dangerous, if not very scary. So I felt like I wasn't making any contribution because of course the language is different, the way of teaching is different, the way they relate with their teachers is very much different. So how we measure contribution here in the Philippines is very much different from how it is in Japan. So for us, kagaya ni Brother Arian, you just go out of the school with your habit and they recognize you're a brother. You just speak to them freely anytime. But that's not the case in Japan. It's not that easy. And I realize it's actually a usual crisis of missionaries everywhere. When you come into a foreign country with a different language and culture, you are there because you believe God asks you to be there, but you're not supposed to measure your success with your own measurements. You will just have to follow where God leads you, and sometimes that's difficult. And I think that was a very difficult experience for me. But I'm happy that I was able to learn a lot from that.
All right, thank you so much, brothers. A follow-up to this, actually. Now that you mentioned your personal experiences with struggling or thinking about leaving the vocation, how did you deal with these feelings or these emotions in a more internal sense or in a reflection kind of sense? How did you deal with them and get back on your feet?
I think the first thing, parang sabi nga nila, the first step is for you to acknowledge na nahihirapan ka. It's for you to be honest with yourself and to say things aren't fine, because kami as teachers and as brothers, we're supposed to be competent. We're supposed to know all the answers to our students' questions. So we're never, in a sense, parang we're conditioned to think that we're not supposed to not know what we're doing. But I think for me that the best thing for me so far, the beginning of the process is for me to say, hindi ko na yata kaya itong ginagawa ko. Or ay kailangan ko na sigurong aminin na nahihirapan na ako, and maybe it's time for me to reach out and ask for help. But also part of the acknowledgement of your difficulty is giving yourself time to actually go through all of these emotions, something that this world doesn't give us. Brother Armin likes to say, you let it. What is Jesus telling you? How do you let Jesus tell you when you don't have time? So I think one of the things we need to do is first acknowledge, and with that acknowledgement, kailangan mong sabihin na bibigyan ko yung sarili ko ng panahon na maging incompetent, na panahon na hindi ko alam, and at the same time say, it's time for me to ask for help. That to me, the first part, yun yung very critical, because we like to deny. Our society likes to push things away, and I think that's one thing we should fight against.
I think we should also look at it as an opportunity for growth. And I think for me, the first step really is to rest. Natatawa ako sa parallel, pero parang workout, di ba? pero kasi di ba, kailangan, important yung rest, no? And when you work out, di ba, parang you damage your muscles. And I think ganun yung nangyayari with any work, with any type of vocation. But you have to rest so that you can recover and actually build more. So I think it's very normal for us. As with any vocation, I think even married people need to rest as well. And that doubting actually is a sign that you are in need of growth. So it's a normal process of growth, I suppose.
All right. Thank you so much, brothers. For the next question, I think Cora will take care of this one.
Yeah, so it's a bit related, but it talks more of the external factors. So once the community learns that a professed brother runs in doubt of his vocation, what are the measures that are usually being done within the community to help him redeem his vigor, for example, for the vocation rather?
Brother Aikee is correct with lang if I say anything wrong, because I've been out there. So I think the first mechanism that's built in with the brothers is that every community has a community director, and that the assumption is one of the things that the director does is he takes care of the emotional and spiritual welfare of the brothers who live in the community. So over there in Taft, it's Brother Martin, Brother Aikee, and I live in the same community. So we have Brother Gus, and they schedule parang time to make a musta. And then when you do approach your director, and then you say that, then it triggers a set of consultations. The director may bring in other brothers to talk to you. But I think that's more a case-to-case basis. Brother Aikee, what else did I say things correctly?
Yes, of course. No, but I think it's also important to renew and to rest. I think if someone is in a sense is in doubt for the vocation, it's very normal, and in time out is very open for anyone who needs that. There are opportunities for spiritual directors or psychologists for therapy. Marami for counselors that you can talk to. You can schedule your own retreat or your own time to have some space, or basically come home, siguro family visit, just for quiet muna for yourself. I think that's very open to all brothers.
Retail therapy, wala, Brother Aikee.
With the limited resources that you may have.
Window shopping. Lazada window shopping.
Retail sari-sari store, ganyan.
Okay.
Well, actually, it's very good to know that there's room for dialogue with especially more senior members of the community who are there, who are ready to talk to you, to listen to you. And speaking of this dialogue, if you could actually ask Saint LaSalle for any advice, what particular topic would you ask counsel for?
I think in these trying times, parang we just heard Ukraine has mga of the already long list of things we have to worry about. Say Lasal reached the point in his life na nawiwindang na talaga siya. And then he as Brother Aikee said, he detached himself. I think I want to ask him, how do we do this when the world seems to be falling apart all around you? Can you say, I don't know what he'll say, but I'm just very curious. Ano bang pwede mong i-advise dyan sa amin? I think that's one thing I'd like to ask.
I think what I'd like to ask him is how does he sustain his faith despite all of the difficulties that he had experienced? And I'm sure with the length of his time, working with the brothers and as the founder who started all of these initiatives, how did he pull himself up and have a constant and sustained faith kahit ang hihirap ng lahat ng pinagdaanan niya. So yun lang, paano? Yeah,
actually it really is mind-boggling to think about the number of things that are happening around the world. But if there's anything that we can all learn from the lives of all the saints, is that they continue to stay close to God, and that just brings so much fruit inside their lives. So thank you so much, brothers, for your time and for taking this opportunity to share with us your insights and experiences. And for our listeners, if you want more from the brothers, you can definitely check them out on their Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify, which is the Salle Brothers of the Philippines.
You can also check them out on their Instagram and Twitter, which is at DLSBrothersPH. And of course, if we missed any questions that you wanted answered from the Lasallian brothers, you can reach out to them through email at vocations@delasalle.ph.
Yes, and of course, here at Green Giants FM, you can still stay connected with us through our Facebook, Spotify, and Twitter, which is Green Giants FM.
Of course, you can check us out on our Instagram, which is at greengiant.fm.
And we are also on YouTube, which is bit.ly/ggfm-YT.
All right, and that is all the time we have for today. But maybe we'd have a few final words from Brother Arian and Brother Aikee.
I think that was a wonderful time to explore how we can be Lasallians, not just the brothers, not just people who teach. The restrictions are there to make us more creative, and I think one of the things we shouldn't forget as Lasallians is we do things together. Faith service community, and that the more things we find in common and the more things we work on together, I think it's a step closer to a better world.
I just wanted to connect this with the theme of love, and I just wanted to stress also how important to love oneself is. If we cannot give what we do not have, so if we want to love others better, I think we should love ourselves more.
All right, thank you so much, brothers. Well, you guys heard it yourselves from Brother Arian and Brother Aikee. And thank you to all the other brothers from the previous episodes as well for taking the time to be with us and answer the many questions your followers have. So for one last time, this has been DJ Miggy.
And this has been DJ Cora.
And this has been Season 2 of What's Up, Bro. Thank you.